The only reason you should be creating video for your business is to make your business more profitable. So today I want to discuss the 5 ways to double the profits in your business and how video fits in with those 5 ways. Now, business expert Paul Lemberg theorized in his Formula 5 course that came out about 2008 that there are only 5 ways to improve the profits in your business. And just small incremental changes in those 5 ways can have an amazing impact on your business. So let's discuss Mr. Lemberg's theories. And the first is that the 5 ways in order to to improve your profits or your business is you can have more leads coming into your business. You can convert more of those leads into sales. You can make sure that those new clients purchase more often, that they purchase at higher prices, and the last way to boost your profits is to reduce your expenses. Now I modify this a little bit, and I'll give you some examples of it, but those are being the 5 different ways. And as an example, like if you take a business that has $250,000 profits for the year and their expenses are $175,000, just as round math. And let's say that business over the course of a year had 1,000 leads that came into the business and they converted at about 50%, which means they have 500 sales. Now their average customer they shopped or they made a purchase about twice a year, and the average purchase price was $250, which means that the average cost per purchase is $175 based on the income and the expenses that the business incurred. Okay, now if we just made small incremental, like say a 10% adjustment to each of these numbers, it could double profits. Like here's an example. So out of that 1,000 leads that came into the business, they added 10%, so now you have 1,100 leads. Okay, now out of that 1,100 leads, now instead of a 50% conversion rate, it was a 55% conversion rate. And at 55% conversion, now what we're looking at is 605 customers per year. Now, if each of those customers, instead of buying twice a year, they spent 2.2 times, then we're looking at 1,331 transactions. Now, those transactions, instead of being at a $250 average sale, is at $275 an average sale. Okay, that would create a gross income for the business of now $366,025. Now what we've done is we've actually become more efficient, and we've reduced the average cost per sale from $175 down 10% to $157.50. Now that means that the expenses for the business is $209,632.50. Now what we have, instead of a gross profit of $75,000, now the business is looking at a gross profit of $156,392.50. So essentially by making a small 10% adjustment in each of those 5 areas, they've doubled their profits, the actual values that you see. And if you could notice, their business expenses, instead of going down, they actually went up. Right? But they're being more efficient at how they spend their money, and as such enjoy a much higher profit margin. So doesn't that make it a whole lot easier to be able to see double your profits by just making small adjustments? Okay, now I know these are just easy round numbers, and people might be thinking it might not work for our business. So let's just take a second example. Now let's go into a little bit more of a complicated business. Let's say a martial arts school, which is a membership business. Now this could be the same for, like, say, a fitness center and whatnot. Let's even break it down so that instead of talking on a yearly basis, we're talking on a monthly basis. Okay, this martial arts school, what it does is it has about 150 members, and what they do is they have an income of $23,000 for the month and expenses of $17,000 for the month, which means that their gross profit is $6,000 per month, which is still pretty decent for a martial arts school. But let's break it down so that we understand the numbers here, okay? So what's happened is that they get 30 new leads a month, and because most of their business comes from current customers, instead of working with just how much they close, let's take a look at all the transactions, all the customers that spend money. Because if you're thinking about it, if you don't think that you have to sell your current members because they're paying you monthly, then you're wrong, because that will depreciate and you'll lose your members. So let's take a look at all of them to begin with. So let's say they've 30 leads come in, and they're dealing with 180 total customers over the course of a month. Okay, that means that every month they have approximately a 600% conversion rate. Because we don't want to add all the current members into our leads. We want to make sure we keep those separate so we can see growth in our leads, okay? right? So they have a 600% conversion rate. Out of that, each customer has 1.17% transaction per month, because these schools are going to do other things. Like, I'm sure your business does other things than just sell your regular memberships. They'll sell things like pro shop sales or seminars, or they'll do birthday parties. They'll do other things to be able to bring income in, right? So each average customer has a 1.17% transaction per customer. And I picked that number because that means that now we know the business has an actual 210 transactions they did for a month to that 180 customers. Okay, that means that with their income, that they, with the 23,000, you divide that out by the 210, that the average customer spends $109.52 per month, or per transaction, right? And with the expenses, their expenses are $80.95 per client. Okay, now if we just make those 10% adjustments, okay, so now what happens is that instead of the 30 leads, they're able to get 33 leads per month. And by making a 10% increase in their conversion rate, so now it's at 660%, that means that now they have 217.8 customers that they're working with a month. Now obviously it'd be round numbers if we're actually doing the full transactions, but just to keep it easy with that 10%, we'll use the real numbers, okay? Now instead of that 1.17 transactions per customer, they've increased it. They've done a little bit more sales, and now they do 1.287 transactions per customers. Okay, so now what they have is they actually have 120.47 transactions. Or sorry, now they do 1.287. That and the average dollar is $120.47 per customer. Now what they do is their income has gone to $33,768 per month. Right, so that's a very significant increase from the 23,000. That's over $10,000, but we still haven't doubled the income. Okay. Instead, what we've done was we've reduced the average cost per transaction to $72.86. Now their average expenses are $20,423 per customer, and their gross profit is $13,345. So these small incremental changes, they can make an impact no matter what business that you're working with. So the very first thing you need to do before you start looking at how to make these changes and where video fits in is to figure out what your baseline is. So one of the first things I do with a client is try to figure out what their baseline is and where they want to see those incremental changes. Because if you're looking at creating new leads for your business, well, then we can start working on how do we use video to be able to make sure that we have better response rates for dealing with your medium for your cold marketing, how to take those people who may have responded and not done business with, and how to remarket to them so we can cut our marketing costs down a little bit and focus on working with warm leads, and how we can improve our lead conversion. Only by 10%. Then we could take a look at what are your client conversion policies are. How can we increase that conversion rate by 10%? Is it using a pre-sale format, or is it using a video as soon as somebody comes in, that you can use something that's automated, that's video, that's going to be more efficient to be able to push the messages, to be able to make sure people understand the complete value so you have a better conversion rate. There's many different ways you can use video to be able to improve your conversion process, especially since every business's conversion cycle is a little bit different. We need to analyze that. There isn't just a one simple fix for any business, okay? Then the next question is, how can we get clients to purchase more often? Do you have an orientation sequence that you use? Do you have regular ways that you follow up with your clients to be able to make sure they're getting the value that they deserve? Right. Also, how do you increase the dollar value per transaction? Meaning, do you have different add-ons or higher value add-ons that you can include before the transaction? Or is there a certain process that you can follow afterwards to be able to make sure that people have an upsell or a bump in your process in order to make sure that you have a higher dollar value per transaction? And finally, being more efficient. And being more efficient, as you notice for both of these examples, the expenses didn't go down. You had to still spend money to be able to make the money. But how can we be more efficient at it? How can we automate some of your systems and some of your processes so that you don't have to have additional manual costs? Or how do you sell more higher margin items so that your cost of goods can actually be reduced because you're able to reduce your cost of goods, right? There are many different ways to be able to adjust these 10% so that this Formula 5, thank you, Paul Lemberg, is to be able to make those small adjustments for you to be able to double your profits. And it's not going to be something that happens overnight, but when working with a video producer, working with a marketing consultant, that's one of the first considerations that you need to have develop your baseline so that you can strategically go in and figure out exactly what you need to do in order to be able to make your business more profitable. Because at the end of the road, your ability to help customers, your ability to have the lifestyle that you want and be able to employ the wonderful people that you love to work with is all dependent on your ability to be able to ensure that your business is more profitable.